What's going on? I'm Ken, the super cool Spartan here. Brother Brian, super mad Spartan. Cue the Woodshed back in the podcast building. Hitting y'all with the Big Ten preview of the Big Ten. But prior to that, we're going to talk about do our Spartan preview of those Fighting John Smiths as they travel cross country to familiar territory for Coach Smith and some of his staff, coming from the old Pac-12, traveling to USC, those Fighting Trojans. 11 o'clock p.m. start time. 8 p.m. Pacific time. Yep. This is where you have to get the Red Bull and the Mountain Dew, the Monster Energy drinks. It's gonna be a long night. It's gonna be a long night, broski. I mean, I think the last game I remember Michigan State playing late night like this was when maybe they played Arizona State back in
Arizona State.
Back in the twilight years of Mark D'Antonio.
Arizona State. That's the biggest one that comes to mind, and one of the West Coast trip horrors that for Michigan State. We just has not been kind to us going to the West Coast.
No, you even ask Tom Izzo, because as great as MSU's basketball season was this past year, you know, they did that back-to-back trip with at USC and UCLA and came home with a donut in terms of West Coast play. So who knows how it's going to be with this game here. So, hey, let's just get right into it. So for all of you, fan duelists and, all the other online betting and all that stuff, MSU basically is set to get blown out in the West Coast. They're
according to the over under. Like, we're not saying they're going to get blown out.
Yes, yeah, I'm not saying they are, but according to according to Vegas, we'll say according to Vegas, MSU is a 17.5 underdog in this game against USC. So basically that translates to at least getting dogged up by 3 touchdowns.
3 scores.
Losing
by 3 scores.
So,
a 17-point loss may not be considered a blowout depending on the game, but box score wise, it will look like a blowout if you lost with 17 points.
Yes. So basically that just says that there's no respect for Michigan State this coming up week. Coming off of what we saw from the game against those Fighting Penguins, Youngstown State, from what we saw in that game, flying, cross country all the way out to the West Coast to Southern Cal. Yeah, what can you say? What can you say?
I thought that was I'm out here stuttering. I can't even say it. The line is not
we're all
surprising.
Stunned. We're all stunned by that.
I'm not stunned by the line. I'm not stunned by it.
Underdog.
You talked about, respect. Michigan State has to earn respect.
That's true.
We haven't been consistently good at football in years. And it's been our MO even during the good times, not good time, better times. Going to the West Coast has not been kind to Michigan State. And especially with this, you brought up the Arizona State game. It was a late night game. A game that Michigan State probably should have won, but they were gassed in the fourth. They couldn't pull it out. Defense gives them a long drive, and lose the game. For this, iteration to Michigan State, watching that Youngstown State game, it does not give you the greatest feeling knowing that USC is not by any means a juggernaut team. I'm not saying they're garbage. I'm not saying they're terrible. Um, they haven't played the biggest game they played so far is Purdue. They had to go to West Lafayette, play Purdue. That's tough for the West Coast team coming east. They the game was a little the game was probably closer than the score indicated.
Mm-hmm.
Purdue had chances. They had, I think, at least two red zone turnovers, which led to USC points. And so that score, you look at it's probably a lot closer if Purdue is not turning the ball over.
Uh-huh.
So Purdue is one of
Right.
our people don't want to admit this, but Purdue is one of our peers in the Big Ten and where we stand. People don't want to admit that, but that's where we're at. We were in a dogfight with Purdue last year, and their profile right now, unfortunately, is very similar to Michigan State's. So you extrapolate that, it would seem Michigan State is primed to get the doors blown off because it's happened in the past several times. Last season against not even a juggernaut to the Big Ten, we were, got put in the dirt. Rutgers, Illinois, all these. I'm not saying Illinois is not good. I'm just saying that it wasn't Penn State, Ohio State, Oregon that it's just regular teams like the mid tier teams.
Right.
You
Right. The
a
teams
tier
that
higher than us, but we that we thought would be our peers, but we're a notch below them right now. So I'm not surprised that we are not favored.
yeah, I can agree with you there. I can agree that, like I said, we all watched the Youngstown State game, and much across the board, everyone has the same reaction, same feedback that the defense didn't look as good as they should have or could have, whatever you want to call it. And everyone is coming into this game against USC with no expectation of winning, getting in the W column this week. So we get it. We get it. So it's
It's kind of funny. Just I have to go to the message boards.
oh yeah. What's going on with the message boards?
Well, pretty much.
What are they
I don't
saying?
think at the beginning of the year, I don't think anybody had penciled this in as a victory anyway. But kind of the sense I'm getting, and this is kind of a unfortunate mentality, but I think I'm in the same boat of I just want to see Michigan State not get their doors blown off and look like a competent football team. That is what
Agreed.
I want to see. Of course, I would love for a win, but I understand that that's a tall task. I'm going to root for a win. There's a path to victory. We could talk about that in a few, but a step forward right now for this program would not to get the doors blown off going to USC this weekend. And now I know that's a low bar and it's sad and all the other things that people would say loser mentality, but that's probably the consensus.
Mm-hmm.
The team needs to look like something.
Right.
Because you haven't seen it. You haven't seen the team be consistent through a whole 4 quarters and look like it's a well-oiled machine.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They're going to be mistakes. Plays aren't going to go your way. That's understandable. But are you controlling the things you can control? Are your people lined up where they're supposed to be lined up at? Is there communication where it's supposed to be at? Are you getting beat because they're just simply more talented, or are you getting beat because they're more talented and you are undisciplined?
Right.
Like all these things,
Or
it
you're missing a
matters.
block. Or you're missing a
Yeah, just
block.
there's all the things because USC, their profile, they have a good offense from what I've seen. The quarterback, Jaden, is it Mavia? I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. He could throw the rock around. He's very talented. They have two receivers. Was Mekhi Lemon and Jacoby Lang, studs. They're going to test us on the outsides. And every game we've seen so far this year, State has gotten beat deep with a couple beat deep a couple times.
Yeah.
The difference is these guys can beat us deep and take it to the house. So
Oh.
that's going to be a challenge, especially with our lack of pass rush, communication issues on the back end. It, we we're going to be in for a test, and I hope we can win. I'm rooting for a victory, and I could come up with a scenario in which we win. Uh, but it's like I said, on paper, they're more talented up and down on paper. So that's always a challenge. USC's basically been kind of underperforming their recruiting for a few years, but that talent can get you through. Like Purdue, they beat Purdue because they're just the more talented team. They made mistakes too. USC turned the ball over. The defense gave up plays. They allowed Purdue to move the ball on them, get in the red zone, put them in. They could have put them in real game time pressure situations, but Purdue turned the ball over. So they're not unbeatable, but can Michigan State take advantage of it?
Right. I think as you were just talking, one thing I thought about too is that one, MSU is a better team than Purdue. So I think based off that, MSU should put up a better fight.
Barely
And
better than
again,
Purdue.
huh?
We're barely better than Purdue. They're in, uh, they're in our peer group of the tiers of the Big Ten. We are in the
I mean,
Purdue tier.
yeah, yeah. I would
So
say
that's what I
that
mean. So you can,
there's
or
okay.
if we're overall 81, they're overall 80. Like we're not that far away.
Well, gave us an 83 and they have an 80. But I think yeah. I mean, we're okay. We're a little better than Purdue, but will that still translate to a win? More than likely not. Well, I mean, could we still get blown up by 17 plus points? Sure, absolutely. But I'm hoping, like you said, that we, don't get blown out, number one, and that, all of the, from the fans' perspective and, the talking heads and whatnot, that, they do use it as motivation to put their best effort out on the field. So who knows? I mean, maybe that's motivation for them to say, you know what? Hey, we're getting dumped on right now. Everybody is down on us. It's us against the world. Hey, let's shock the world and see what happens. That's the only thing I got for you.
First, the path to victory is going to take mistake-free football. We're going to have to
Yes,
see
mistake-free
another one of
football
Aiden
is huge.
Child's best games. Hopefully Nick Marsh is available. Hopefully some of the injury news tilts our way on the good side. They
Right.
were lost a couple of linemen, so that's not a very good thing. The path forward is that State would have to play, old school, control the clock, time of possession, hitting your big play, score when you get in the red zone. No turnovers. Defense, I guess the best way we can describe it is bend but don't break. Give up the yards, try to hold the field goals.
Mm-hmm.
USC is going to have to make some mistakes. Maybe we get some turnovers to give us some more possessions. Things like that. But it's going to take Michigan State playing extremely complimentary football all three phases of the game. A little bit of luck, and if Nick March and Ada Childs can have the most spectacular game in the green and white, who knows? Because USC hasn't been tested yet. If we can keep the game close going into the fourth and letting that pressure build on USC, we have a shot.
Mm-hmm.
But can we get there? We haven't seen a game like that where State is the clear underdog and they're just scrapping, putting up a fight, staying in the game, and steal one. Or
Right.
just take it.
Right.
We haven't seen that under Jonathan Smith. So is it possible? Yeah. Is it probable? Hard to say. And I haven't seen it from him yet.
So let me ask you this question, Super Mad Spartan. What if USC was coming to Michigan State to play? Do you think that we would be favored to win that game?
No.
Okay. So you're saying that if this game is played at Spartan Stadium and USC had to make the cross country trip from, Southern Cal to East Lansing, that MSU would still not be favored to win the game.
No, that thing has to do with how USC has looked in their scoring ability versus Michigan State and how we've looked in the past and how it looked this season. And
Mm-hmm.
again, USC is not a perfect team. Their defense, I think we can score some points on them, but can we run the ball effectively? Can we keep Aiden Childs clean? Because they have talent on the field on defense. They just haven't been able to consistently get like stops.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Purdue moved the ball on them. They just turned the ball over too many times in the red zone.
Mm-hmm.
So would they still be favored coming to Michigan State? I don't think it would be as high. I don't think it'd be
Uh-huh.
17 and a half, but I would still think they'd be favored just based on, you know, their talent and name alone.
Right.
State has to show something. Let's be like State has to show something. So I don't think it like you said earlier, like it was respect. Like, well, we have to earn that respect. Now it would
Right.
be
Right.
nice
Right.
for a a, a, a top 25 victory in a row for Jonathan Smith to put it on his career. And all right, we're 4-0. Sky, we're moving, we're cooking with gas a little bit.
Right. And we're
We're
going into a bye week after that, so that'd be lovely.
and then we got Nebraska. So at Nebraska. So if he go 4-0, that that trends very well to at a minimum make a bowl game. We
Right.
still got
Right.
Maryland, UCLA, Iowa. So
Right. Yeah, it's gonna be we'll see what happens, man. I mean, I guess the roll of the dice. So let's hey this I guess
root
I
for
got
the
nothing
only
else to say.
colors. That's it. So I guess we can go ahead and take our look around the Big Ten.
Yeah, let's do our Big Ten talk. Let's do it. Let's do it. So, yes, Big Ten talk brought to you by 8-Bit Productions LLC. Mr. 8-Bit, Mr. Ethan Williams, who does our music here for the show. My son, your brilliant nephew here.
Yes,
So,
sir.
looking at what's going on in the Big Ten here, there are 7 Big Ten teams ranked in the top 25 if you are into doing, if you're into those rankings and things. So Ohio State still ranked number 1, Penn State number 2, Oregon's number 6, Illinois ranked number 9, so they made the top 10 this week. Indiana 19, that team down the road, number 21, and USC, who we're about to face at 25. So, Big Ten is they got a good showing here in the top 25. Again, if you're into rankings and all that stuff, I mean, we all know
Yeah, the
what
real
these
rankings don't come out
rankings.
until
It's all
till next month sometime. So these are just the let's get some hype
right,
for the college football rankings.
right. Let's just get you into to watching these games here. So, but and most of these teams, I mean, this week they played, for the most part, some pretty let's be honest, some 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 very lesser talent. I mean, Michigan, for example, they in their science stealing collaborators bowl game against CMU, they dog walked them 63-3. USC, they probably, they played we just mentioned that at Purdue. I
They
mean,
played
that's
Purdue.
that yeah, they played at Purdue. I'm thinking of all these teams, they probably had the toughest team to play. Everyone else, Ohio State, they whooped up on, I think, the Bobcats. Penn
Ohio
State, they're
Bobcats,
showing their
yes.
dominance over Nevada or whoever they played. You know, Oregon, they whooped up on. Well, Oregon played at Northwestern. I forgot
Yes.
they played it. They opened a Big Ten play at Northwestern. I mean, I know they beat Northwestern, but um, they weren't playing Ohio or CMU or anything like that. So, and Indiana, I mean, 73-0. I mean, they're playing
Indiana
basketball on the
State was
football field against the Sycamores. Yeah, Kurt Signetti doing his thing, just keep on pushing the pedal to the metal. He always says
Indiana got an
Google
easy
him.
schedule.
So yes,
They got
they
an easy
do.
schedule. And then it's not it's just we look at Indiana because they hired their coach the same around the same time we hired ours, but they've had vastly different results.
Mm-hmm.
And one reason why is that they've had a very fortunate schedule the last two seasons, and the coach knows what they're doing. So I'm not disrespecting them in any means, but at State would have looked a lot better if they had Indiana's schedule last season.
Right. Right. Exactly.
But it's
Exactly.
we're almost a quarter way through the season, and we're going to start seeing who these real teams are. And so
Right.
far, the usual suspects look good. Oregon looks good. They haven't missed a beat. Penn State looks good. Haven't missed a beat. Ohio State looks good. Haven't missed a beat. Now we're in the part of the season where we're starting seeing our who's real and who's fake.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And I think one team that's gotten my curiosity is Illinois because, like I said, they're ranked number 9. They're in the top 10. I was just checking some of their schedule out. I think they have USC coming up soon. And then they do their battle with Indiana next couple of weeks. Their biggest game, I think, in their schedule is they host Ohio State. I think either early October
That's their
time
measure stick
frames.
game then.
So yeah, that's going to be. I mean, I wouldn't pick Illinois to win over Ohio State, but
No,
it's a good
no.
measuring stick for them considering where they're at right now.
Because
So
even if they beat Indiana or Indiana beats them, they're both being measured on can you beat Ohio State? Can you beat
right,
Oregon? Can you beat Penn State?
right.
Like, and that's no knocking because I would love to get to the point at Michigan State football again. We're like, hey, we think we're pretty good. Let's see what we can do. We're just like, can we crawl out the cellar of the basement? Can we make it? We still in the basement. We out the first part of the cellar. We're just on the regular floor now. Can we make another step? Can we crawl our
Right.
way
Can we take
forward?
another step? Yes, yes, yes. So the most interesting thing, this is not Big Ten related, but Notre Dame ranked 0-2. I mean, their record is 0-2. I'm sorry, their record is 0-2, but they are ranked number 24. They're the only
They've played
team
they
in
played two real
the
teams, I guess.
so
And
you
they've
get
lost close
rewarded by
games
state. So you get rewarded by still being ranked. You have a donut in the win column, but you're still ranked.
because the
Explain that
AP
to
it's
me.
based on feels and vibes.
Oh, so the feeling is even though they haven't won a game, but the feeling is, oh, they played some really close games, and
and
there's a
they
very tough
they just don't
opponents.
think that anybody else behind them is good enough. Like that's what
So,
it means. It
so
don't have
what
to make
happens
sense.
if? So what happens if Notre Dame wins this coming Saturday? They're 1-2. They move up in the rankings to what? They move up from 24 to 21 with a 1-2 record.
I didn't hear what you said. I'm sorry, I blanked out.
No, I was saying that if Notre Dame wins this coming Saturday and their record is 1-2, does that mean they move up in the rankings? They go from 24 to what,
Yes,
to
because I don't
22?
know. If it was me, they wouldn't be ranked because all right, you can have played a tough schedule, but you lost both those games. So okay. And again,
Right.
these are just numbers by a team name for ratings and for matchup purposes. The real rankings come out next month, and we'll see. And don't you worry, Notre Dame is going to start stacking victories, and they're going to Notre Dame, based on their name and their profile, will always be probably in the
And
playoffs,
who they
no matter what.
play, because they play some pretty cupcake ass teams in the ACC. They dip their foot in the football part into the ACC, but they still
It
want to
is
stay
5 games.
independent. Right.
They allow it, and that's why I always feel like if the Big Ten were to expand and Notre Dame was like, "Hey guys," like, no, you've had your chance too many times. No,
Right. 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 And shout out to our auntie Pearlie. She's a big Notre Dame fan. She lives
big
in
Notre
South
Dame
Bend.
fan.
Yep. When she hears this, she's probably going to give me some phone calls like, why are you hating on Notre Dame like that? They better than Michigan State. Well, at least Michigan State's won some games, regardless of who they
True,
played.
true, very true.
But
3-0. As
yeah,
we don't celebrate enough. We are 3-0. There it
right,
is.
right. 3-0, baby. It could be worse. Could be 0-3 like UCLA.
Fired their coach. Got him up
Man, they
out of
got
there.
rid of Deshaun Foster. Like, wow. And like I said in our Spartan review of the Penguins game, that I was rooting for my man Deshaun Foster. He's a pretty cool dude. I mean, I know when he first came into the Big Ten, he kind of froze up in his inaugural press conference, but
For
he looked
sure.
better this past season. But man, and what's interesting is that I was reading an article about his firing, and I think the AD basically admitted that, well, we didn't have enough resources or give him enough resources to make something happen. But I still had to fire him. Like, wow. Like, damn.
All right, so it should. UCLA has potential to be a good job, but you're in a city competing with a bunch of other major sports. Your stadium is, I think it hosts 25,000. I think well, they're in Beverly Hills, right? That's where UCLA is at.
There might be. I went to UCLA's campus like a very, very long time ago. And their campus is kind of laid out like Ann Arbor, where you have some of the college infused in with the city.
Okay.
So they have that weird like layout. So I don't know what their stadium holds, but yeah, you know, like you said, yeah, the resources there. I mean, they're basically fighting for scraps in terms
Yeah,
of
they're
resources.
and then their fan base, their fan apathy's completely set in. They've been bad for a long time. And so it's gonna be tough for them to get well, they're gonna have to hit really good on the head coach. People forget like Chip Kelly walked away to be a coordinator. He said, I
Right,
don't want to be head coach anymore. I don't want to be here
right,
and left to be a coordinator. That should tell you what a
right,
big
and that
time, Chip Kelly's a big time head coach, at least a big name. And that should tell you a lot. So
Right. And that's how Deshaun Foster got his job, because he took over for Chip Kelly when
yes,
Chip jumped ship to be Ohio State's OC.
nope. And now they paid out
But
almost
when
$2 million
when
to get take a L. So that's was like,
right,
okay,
right,
Deshaun, this is embarrassing.
right. I mean, when I read that article, I was like, wow, basically you just made him out to be the fall guy for the F ups that you did as the athletic department, when you're just basically
I
admitting
think that
that, yeah,
AD might
we
have to
didn't
go
have
too, because
uh,
boy,
yeah, might as well just clean house, start from scratch. I think the last
it's
time I recall UCLA being relevant was when Troy Aikman was there, if I'm not mistaken.
they've had to have had good seasons since Troy Aikman was there. Because that I refuse to believe they've
Well,
been down bad that long. But it's
well,
possible.
yeah. I have to watch, when they play the old Pac-12 stuff now on the Big Ten Network. Now that UCLA is in the Big Ten, they play some of those old USC, UCLA games, and I do know that UCLA has had some big victories over USC, especially when Pete Carroll was the head coach back in the day. But yeah, yeah, that's tough for my man Deshaun Foster. So glad. I mean, I'm not glad to see him, you know, get the boot like that.
No, it's kind of sucks because, but you could tell it was because Brighton was on the wall. You can't.
Oh yeah,
They got their doors blown off by a division school, a school in division lower than you at home. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So
I
let
know we
me
talked
give you
about.
this little nugget here, broski. So the past 3 weeks, I've been doing like this mini Big Ten venue tour, because started out, of course, going to Western, the Michigan State Western game at, the illustrious Spartan Stadium. Then follow that up, with going to a game at the Horseshoe when they pretty much stomped Grambling, but Grambling's band was excellent. And then I thought that I would burst in flames when this happened, but you know, the music producer of our show here, your great nephew, my son, again, Mr. Ethan 8-Bit Williams. He had it on his young bucket list to go to a Michigan game. So we went to the sign stealing collaborators bowl with U of M and CMU this past Saturday. And we went with one of his, little cousins, and pretty much made it a day. But so I set foot in the big house for the first time and ever, in my college football life. And I will say that the seats were pretty decent, because we sat a few rows up from the end zone and got a chance to see, Bryce Underwood, up close and personal. Again, there was no threat. I mean, they just throttled CMU, so it was a
Took
good
care of
win.
business.
Yeah, it was a good win for them, coming
Must
off of
have
that
been
loss.
nice. A
Coming off
team just
that
comes out,
loss
takes care of
against
business.
Oklahoma. So, but yeah, the boys, they enjoyed it. This, being in awe, of that team down the road stadium. I will say it was nauseating to hear every time, the team scored or it was a break or something, go blue, go blue, go blue, go blue. I'm like, that was nauseating to hear all of that. But overall, it was an interesting experience going between those three uh, college stadiums. Now, I will say that this going to all these three, that Michigan State and Ohio State Stadium seem to be more modern in a sense because we're going to the big house.
Spartan
They
Stadium,
only
modern.
yes, I'm serious, Brian. I'm telling you,
Yeah, piss
and
troughs.
I'm not talking about the bathrooms because we know Spartan the bathrooms are very questionable at Spartan Stadium. I
Find your
mean,
space. Running water.
the
Go ahead, everybody.
the troughs that you have to use in the men's
It's
bathroom.
ridiculous.
That part is very, I don't know. That's like a century old thing. I mean, so outside of the trough, outside the trough you use in the men's bathroom at Spartan Stadium, it looks more modern on the inside because you have like these big uh jumbotrons that look, they're like huge jumbotrons. And I know at Michigan State Stadium, Spartan Stadium, I think they've recently upgraded those
Then it's something with
things.
the sound system again. Yes.
Yeah, and you have all of the like at an NFL stadium, you have like in between the different sections, you have the big electronic uh electronic tickers and all that stuff that run ads and all that stuff. At the big house, they don't have any of that. They just have one big, large jumbotron at the one end of the stadium, and then another big one at the opposite end of the stadium. And there's just a row, of just seats and fans and all that stuff. And the same thing with the horseshoe. The horseshoe is similar to MSU Stadium, but to me, Ohio State Stadium gives you more like an NFL like feeling in a sense with how the team comes in onto the field, the home team, and all the different things they do, in between the commercial breaks, the timeouts, and all that stuff gives you more of a NFL like experience. So it's it was interesting to just to go to all these different stadiums like the first 3 weeks of college football, particularly within our conference. So I'll have to shoot you some pictures so you can take a look of the differences. But that was just my take on these different schools. Now, of course, when all the Michigan fans hear this, yeah, they're gonna
You hate.
yeah,
You
yeah,
hate. You
whatever,
hate.
Sparty, hate, 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 yeah, whatever, 110,000 deep in the big house.
Cool.
Go blue, blue. Like, so that's my take on all between these three stadiums that I went to these past 3 weeks.
Okay. Okay. I'm just trying
Now,
to
one thing I
see.
will add is that I did always have on my bucket list going to all the different Big Ten stadiums throughout the conference. Now, this was way before they added, the teams from the Pac-12. So, going to 18 different stadiums, yeah, that's well,
Yeah, he already knocked down 3 of them, so there it
I
is.
know I got 15 more to go.
No, but
But
that's pretty dope. Maybe we can take our show on the road, as they say.
oh yeah, yeah, we're gonna get some Big Ten talk, take it on the road, because with Q the Woodshed now we're expanding our talk. We have our Spartan talk, and now we have the Big Ten talk. So we're showing our love to the Big Ten. Now, again, we, we're not covering all the Big Ten just yet. We're taking those baby steps. So, as I said in the Sparty pod we did, it's fluid. It's
It's
fluid.
fluid.
So But you have any other thoughts on the Big Ten, sir? With these ranked teams here, you know.
No, I just want to kind of go back a little bit. You talked about Indiana and Illinois. That game is this upcoming weekend, so that's an indicator
Oh,
for
the
these
Battle of
teams.
the
Okay,
Eyes. The Eyes have
yes,
it.
that is this weekend's game. I'm going to pay attention to that one closely.
Is that at
Just
Illinois or is that in Indiana?
let me look at that again.
Yes, the the eye test, literally the letter I test.
It's in Indiana. So they playing what? Bloomington?
Yep. Yeah, that's going to be a good early test for both those teams.
So yeah, that we're gonna pay attention to that game because we'll see.
Right.
We're trying to get to their level
Right.
for now.
And I did read, and this is so funny. We were talking about the spread earlier, based off of the team's previous look in their game. So MSU is favored to basically get blasted at USC, whereas Michigan, because they blasted the hell out of CMU, they're favored on the road against Nebraska because they play Nebraska this coming up Saturday.
It's at Nebraska.
As at Nebraska, and Michigan's favored like by 2.5 points.
Oh, so
So
that's basically that they made a toss up. I mean, Vegas trying to get that money.
yeah, I mean, I don't see Michigan winning either. I
Who
mean, if
knows?
if if
These
they were
teams are
at
up and
home, I
down.
probably could maybe, but
I mean,
yeah.
I'm not a big Nebraska fan, but I would definitely be rooting for the
Oh yeah, for
Cornhuskers.
sure. I don't like Nebraska either because they always whoop up on. Well, I won't say whoop up on Michigan State, but Nebraska has Michigan State's number for a minute. I mean, this goes way back to when Nick Saban was the coach when I was still at Michigan State, because I remember that when Saban was the coach, they did a home and home with Nebraska, and we lost both games. so going way back then, even when under Mark D'Antonio, I think he only beat Nebraska maybe twice.
I have to think about it. 2 or 3 times, something like that.
So
That's different Nebraska, different Michigan State team, but that's a big game for Nebraska because they're a team that's trying to ascend and want to look like
oh
something.
yeah.
And
Oh
beating
yeah.
Michigan, they're coming to your place. You know, they always talk about it. Bryce Underwood is a true freshman. It's very hard to go on the road, Big Ten, in these environments. Now, it helped
Yeah,
that they
and
played
Sharon
Oklahoma, so
Sharon
he has
won't
to be.
be there either because he's serving his
I don't think it
second
matters with
game.
Sharon,
Cry baby
but
Sharon. Hey Sharon.
I that's a good test for both schools, and we'll see. Nebraska's been putting people in the dirt. I don't know how. Yeah, I'm sure they're riding high. It's just we'll see because there are a bunch of teams in the Big Ten that are kind of mid tier, and this is where the fight begins.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. For all of these teams that are ranked, I think the more intriguing games are these games where most of these teams are kind of, like you said, like 50-50 toss ups. Michigan State, USC, you know, uh,
That's not a toss
Michigan,
up.
Nebraska. I mean,
I don't think I
well,
don't. Hey,
in
Michigan
terms
State
of,
USC is not a toss up.
I mean, you're right. You're right. I mean, I guess, in terms of when you look at, if you compare the schedules to, like, you compare like MSU schedule to USC to Iowa to, I'll say Rutgers, let's just say, a lot of when you this if you take off what you've seen so far, if you go back to the beginning of the season, right, and you just look at these teams' schedules,
Oh yeah, most of the teams
next
are
to each
at where
other,
they. they're
Yeah,
at where we
you
thought they
would
would
say
be at.
that a lot of these games are like 50-50 because, like you said, most of
Yeah,
these teams are basically like the same.
yeah, I know what you mean. Okay, I get you. So
Like
like
either you're middle
Michigan
tier
State,
to lower
we're
middle tier to 0 and
yes.
3 like UCLA. So
Well, like I said, we shall see.
right, right. So all right, broski, it's that time. The fun football fact. Let me get you out of here on this. See if you can get this one. I think you're 1-2 or 2-1 right now.
I only got one right so far,
Okay,
so
so
I'm
this
one and
is for
two.
you to get you the 500.
Hopefully,
So the question is, and this is a true multiple choice question. How many times has MSU played USC in football? Is it 3 times, 5 times, 7 times, or 8 times?
what was the first one?
3. It's either
I'm gonna
3,
go with
5, 7, or 8.
I'm gonna go with three. I feel like we haven't played. I can't. I don't remember. It's that my recollection. They play USC.
And the survey says, and wrong answer. MSU's
Okay, where
played
we at?
USC 8 times.
8 times. When was the last time we played them?
The last time we played USC, I believe it was the Rose Bowl, like
Like
back in the
the
late
like
80s.
like the Andre Rison team Rose Bowl.
Yeah, yes. It's either that game or, according to Google, MSU played USC in the Sun Bowl, which I can't remember when that was, but yeah, it's been, I'll say at least, since if you go on, if it has been the Rose Bowl back in the late 80s, I think it was like 88, I think. You're talking almost 40 years?
Coming up on 40 years because 88.
Wow.
You
So,
know,
but yeah,
yeah.
they played each other 8 times, and according to Google, they split 4-4.
Okay, well, break the tie. Hopefully we win. Hopefully get Michigan State's best game we under Jonathan Smith, and we can come out of USC with a victory.
Yes, V for you,
Hopefully.
V for MSU, not L for MSU. We want a V.
Yeah, that would be a if we win, it would change a lot of perception.
Monumental
Even if it's a
for
shootout. It
at this
would
point.
yes, for this because anyway, we know we can get off here, but just one little small little thing. Michigan State is still on track to win to make a bowl. And we have to keep that in perspective. I know everybody wants to win. I want to win every single game. But this year, I would really like to see 8-4, 75. Even if we lose to USC, that is still on the table. But just depending on how we look, we can determine if it's more realistic. Man, but if it's right there. So I go on and take it.
Right. It's right there. We're going to leave it at that. So, another episode on the books here. Spartan preview versus USC. Big Ten talk. Cue the Woodshed. I'm Ken, the super cool Spartan. Brother Brian, the super mad Spartan. Make sure you check us out on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music. Hit that subscribe button. Catch us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Please follow us. We always have these hot, takes with you guys here. Cue the Woodshed.